This is a resistor. There are hundreds of different resistors, and the main difference between them is, well, their resistance. So I might have bought a few things from Temu. There we go. That's everything I bought from Temu. Luckily, the ones that I bought came already labeled, but what happens if you were to mix them up? Let's explore 2 ways on how to find the resistance of a resistor. The first way can be the quickest and simplest. Looking at the resistor up close, you can see all these different colored bands on them. Look, these bands aren't just for style, they actually mean something. Almost like a little bit of a secret code. So let's go ahead and decode this. First, you want to make sure that the band with the biggest gap is on the right. Let's focus on the bands to the left of this gap, excluding this last one for now. So if we were to read this from left to right, we're gonna have 4, 7, 0. For this last band, it's not only a number, it's how many numbers, specifically how many zeros. So in this case, our color is black, meaning 0 zeros. Now, this is where I got confused. I figured this out by consulting this book, which was also produced by Charles Platt. See, in some cases, the last number may not actually be how many zeros, but instead it's a multiplier. So we still haven't talked about what this last color band means, but before I get into that, let's go ahead and look at the second way on how you can measure resistance of a resistor. Have I not introduced you guys to Dr.Din? He's our behind the scenes specialist guy who kind of goes into depth about a lot of the things that we're learning. Oh, and by the way, if you see me pop up during the video, this just has some extra information or tips for you guys in case you're interested. Okay, you can go now. Go, it's my turn, get out. Okay, so we're gonna be doing the second experiment now. These are all the things that we need for it. And I also forgot my multimeter. First, he wants us to go ahead and start by reading the resistors and seeing what the measurements come back as. I honestly didn't realize how tiny these resistors are. I wasn't expecting it to be so tiny, but that's okay. How do I bent it. Hopefully bending it doesn't do any harm. Let me go ahead and measure how many ohms this is. So I'll go down to 200 on my multimeter. If I measure from one side to the other, on the 15 ohm, I'm getting, roughly about 1. Now, one thing about these test leads, basically using the little alligator dude, I could then take this and put it on my red lead. Okay. And then look, I got hands-free reading. So it's coming out at 11. Wait. If this is supposed to be a 15 ohm resistor, then why am I only getting 11 ohms on my multimeter? See, now this specific scenario was because my test lead wasn't properly connected. Oh, God dang it. Which is why I look so confused. So now we're doing the 150, we're getting about 100. But that doesn't mean a reading like this isn't normal. See, this last strip is the resistor tolerance. In my case, I have a 1% tolerance, meaning that my resistor should be plus 1% or minus 1% from 15, which is again why I looked so confused. As the author puts it, you just experienced the basic truth in electronics. Measurements are never precise. Not only is the multimeter not absolutely precise, but the resistor itself isn't either. There are other factors that can cause this measurement to not be precise, but your main goal ultimately is to be as close as you can. We're gonna ditch the multimeter because we're gonna go ahead and create our first circuit, which is exciting. So this first circuit is basically going to be us lighting an LED. Before we hook up the LED, I want to explain to you guys what polarity is. Looking at a battery, you have a plus, which means positive, and a minus, which means negative. Don't worry, I assume you guys already knew that, but the distinction between positive and negative is called polarity. When something says that a component, like this LED, has polarity, it means that there is a right and wrong way to connect it. So the long part is the positive, and the short part is the negative. Let's say you cut its legs off to be the same length and you forgot which one was the shorter one or the longer one. Luckily, there is a way to find out. There's a flat spot on the base that indicates which one is the shorter one, aka the negative one. So what about a resistor? Well, a standard resistor actually doesn't have polarity, meaning you can install this whichever way you want. Now, let's see if we can get this LED to light up. So he wants us to start with our 1.5 thousand So 1500 resistor, which then will go into my black test light thing. And then the other side of that needs to go into the battery negative terminal, which this is the negative. So I'll hook that guy on. So now we have negative hooked up. So we're gonna attach the red lead to the positive side of the LED. Gets connected, right? And then I'm gonna connect this to my battery. If I touch these together, the LED should light up. Oh, it lights up. We've got power. Wow, that's a nice LED, but can we make it brighter? Now he says to replace the 1.5K resistor with a 150 resistor. So we'll go ahead and do that. Apparently what this should be doing is providing us with a brighter LED. That does look brighter. Wow-wee! Now that's a light LED. But can we make it brighter? Psst, the answer's no. Obviously, less resistance means the LED will be brighter. 15 ohm resistor. This is apparently going to do something. So let's see. Okay, well, I think it instantly died. I saw it flash for like a second. Well, RIP to this one LED. So what happened there? First, I'd like to define to you guys what current is. Electric current is the flow of electricity per second. This flow consists of electrons. These are tiny particles moving at a fraction of a second carrying an electric charge. And this is usually measured in amperes, which is then abbreviated down to amps, which is then abbreviated down to the letter A. You can break amps down into milliamps and microamps, but we're gonna focus on milliamps. Now, to measure milliamps on your multimeter, we need to move the red lead to the spot that says MA. With the leads in the right place, we can go ahead and set our multimeter to 20 milliamps. An important thing to remember when you're measuring current is the meter has to be entered into the circuit. This means that electricity will be running through your multimeter. Let's go ahead and look at our circuit. If we were to put a break in this point, then until we connect this break again, this side becomes the positive side and this side becomes the negative side. So to add our meter into this circuit, we're going to need to take the positive side and attach it to the red lead and the negative side onto the black lead. Let's see what the results are. Pretty much what we want to do is switch back to the 1.5K resistor, so I'm gonna do that. And then we're gonna use this green guy to go from the negative to the resistor, okay? If I connect this black lead, I should get a reading, which I do not. I'm not getting nothing. So I did end up getting it to work. I just had to fix the positive connection here. As you can see, with everything connected, it lights up and I'm getting 5 amps. Now let's say we want to measure from the other side of the circuit. What would that look like? Well, let's put a break in here. Now our meter would have to be like this. The black side on the negative and the red on the positive. Let's see what results we get this time. So lights on and 5.01. Okay, so it's the same. On a simple circuit like this, they should be the same. Why? Because the current has nowhere else to go. So we have an LED that's lit with a 1.5K resistor and the circuit is pulling around 5 milliamps. It's running now, but would it be able to run for a day or two? Would it even survive? The way that we're gonna figure out this information is through data sheets. Most companies will have a data sheet online. There'll be a lot of useful information, but also just a lot of technical information that's not very needed. Right now, we're only gonna look at some of the parts of the more useful stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and Google the LED's part number and then follow that with the word datasheet. Now on the datasheet, we see absolute maximum ratings. This means that you can't go over these limits or else the component itself will be damaged. Now looking at the LED's forward current, which just means that the current is flowing in the right direction. Do you remember from Polarity, like from earlier? We're at 50 milliamps. Now peak forward current assumes that the power is going through for just a fraction of a second. This won't matter for our situation. Now down here under typical characteristics, this is where you're gonna find realistic values, which we should be following. So for our forward voltage, which don't worry, that will be explained in another experiment, we're looking at 20 milliamps. So with our circuit only being 5 milliamps, we can go much higher to make it more brighter and it will stay brighter safely. Let's say we put a 470 ohm resistor into the circuit. Now when we measure this, we're much closer to that 20 milliamp rating. So unless you wanted the LED to be dimmer, or maybe you want to extend the life of the battery, there's not really a point of using a higher resistor like we did previously. Oh, and by the way, in case you guys are wondering, I had to use the book to be able to get this datasheet stuff because there was no datasheet from these Temu products, so yeah. Before we finish up, I want to quickly explain to you guys the difference between AC and DC. No, not the rock band, in electronics. So the flow of current from a battery is known as DC, which stands for direct current. Think of it like a steady flow of electrons in a single direction, or like the flow of water coming from a faucet. The flow that you get from, let's say, an outlet in your home is AC, which stands for alternating current. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about AC, mainly because a lot of the experiments from this book are all done in DC, but I wanted to quickly explain the difference. If you have any questions or possibly some tips for me, or maybe others who might be watching this, make sure to leave a comment down below. Also, if you guys haven't seen episode 1 where I licked a battery, make sure to check it out right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.